Now, this is where we left off. We got this mask moving. So what this is this mask is a hole cut in the stripes, right? So if I take the stripes, look at the opacity. If I jam the opacity up, what I've got is that skeleton is behind this wall of animated stripe stuff, right? And there's a hole cut in it, and the hole is moving, and then the hole changes shape, right? If I look at this, it looks kind of like that, but I want to call your attention to something right now. Part of the charm and appeal of this clip is that inside this shape, the skeleton is sharp focus, crystal clear. Outside the shape, the skeleton is fuzzy and blurry. Okay? What you may not realize is that the way we built this here, you can't make part of the skeleton blurry out here and clear focused in here. So what you're looking at in this clip is this is not actually a hole cut in the stripes. It is a floating layer on top of the stripes. Okay? So the way I made this is not, it looks like it's a hole cut through the curtain of stripes, but this is actually like a floating disc that's in front of the stripes. And you might be scratching your head and saying, what? What are you talking about? But what it is I've got two skeletons. There's a skeleton behind the curtain and a skeleton in front of the curtain. And the skeleton in front of the curtain has the mask on it. So the way I did this was useful to show you how to do the mask, but it's not how I did it. So let me see if I can take this skeleton, copy it, make two of them, right? And I'll put one skeleton in front. So now I've got this sandwich. I've got skeleton in front. If I turn that off, then I've got these stripes with the mask in it, which is confusing. And then I've got this one in the back, right? So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to recut the mask. I don't think I can paste the mask onto the other layer, but I'll try it. Watch this. Let's turn off the visibility on this top skeleton and look at the stripes layer with this mask 1, right? Maybe it'll save me some trouble. If I take this mask, open it, and select mask 1, right? Select mask 1, if I copy it, Command C, and go up to skeleton here, turn this on, and paste it. What am I looking at here? Is this right? This might be confusing to you. Let's see what happens. If I get rid of this mask, so there's no mask on the stripes anymore. So it stands to reason that this mask is on the skeleton layer. And what if I set it, right now it's set to subtract, so what it's doing is let's turn some things off. If I turn off the background skeleton, this is the top skeleton. And this appears to be correct. So top skeleton has this mask. It's set to subtract, so what it's doing is it's cutting a hole. If I set it to add, then what it's going to do is it's adding. Interesting. It is correct, but the timing is wrong. So can I fix that? I don't know. What if I move the keyframes, these keyframes, so that I think all these keyframes, if they move more like, I select them all, move them back here. This first keyframe should really probably be at the front, like this. So that's pretty correct. Okay, that might have been confusing to you when I took the mask from, what I just did is, the mask was on the stripes layer that we made, and I copied it and pasted it here on the skeleton layer, right? So you can do that. When I did that, it wound up making the keyframes in the wrong place, which I was able to fix by just grabbing them all and sliding them, right? So if that lost you, I'll redo it a little differently right now, but look at how this looks. What I'm looking at now is this looks like a hole cut in the stripes, but it's really it's this top skeleton floating on top of these stripes, right? And the way I can tell that is if I take these stripes and hit T for opacity and bring the opacity back, see there's if I turn the visibility of this top layer, the skeleton, that's just the hand. It's what's inside the mask, right? So this is on top of the stripes, then there's the stripes, and then there's the background skeleton. Now, and it looks like one skeleton because it's an exact copy, and they're moving in tandem. Somehow along here the stripes got moved. I don't know why that is. Let me move that up. Okay, so this looks a lot like my example. If I lost you on copy pasting the mask, I'm going to redo the mask real quick. So I'm going to take this mask on this layer, open it up, mask 1, I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to do it over on this top skeleton, right? So watch, real quick, at 0, on the top layer, if I get my rectangle tool, pull a rectangle. Now as soon as I click, it might seem strange that these stripes show up, but what's happening is as soon as I clicked, I made a mask that's set to add, and so the mask that's set to add is only showing the skeleton inside, so that's why the stripes appear suddenly. Okay, so on this mask that's set to add at 0, I turn on mask path, move ahead to 1 second, I can see the skeleton in the back because stripes have the opacity set to lower than 100. So this skeleton here is actually this one behind the curtain. And I'm using the one behind the curtain to follow where the position of the hand is, right? So at 1 second, I'm going to get my move tool, try to grab this mask and move it there and see how that looks. So it's going to follow good, and here at 2 seconds I'll grab the mask and move it so it's on cigarette. So far so good. So it's following. I could tweak it if I don't like it, like here where the cigarette goes out. If I wanted to add a keyframe, I could say, you know what, I need to be there. I just added a keyframe right there, so like this, right? And then to make it a circle, the way that I cheat to do it, there's other ways you could do this. You could say, where is it? There's some place here you can make the mask shape change. Why do I not see it? Add, subtract, intersect. There's some place. Oh, here, mask path shape. You could make another mask and steal the circle keyframe, or you could take the shape and say, you know what? Reset it from a rectangle to an ellipse. Say, okay. So what that does is it's not a circle, it's an ellipse, but it'll do something similar where you go like this. Rectangle, 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 and then ellipse. Now, I don't like that ellipse is not very circular. So I could sit right on that keyframe, come over here and try to, if I try to make this circular, I'm in the selection state where I'm just moving it. In order to move the points, what I got to do is click off of it, and then click on it like this, and I could grab these points, the north, south, east, west cardinal points, and bend this into a circle. Now, it's going to be harder to make this a perfect circle just because of the way that the tool works, right? So you could kind of mess with these Bezier handles and make it as circular-ish as possible. I'm not going to sweat it for this demo. I'll let you do that if you want. If you don't like this method, you could go back and do the other method I showed you in the previous clip where I made a circle mask and stole the keyframe and pasted it, right? Either way will work. I'm just not going to spend a lot of time fussing with it right now. So this is kind of cool. It does the move like that, and it changes. Now, building it this way lets me, since this mask is on this top skeleton, what I can do then is take this back skeleton, this one here. Watch if I turn it on and off. Now it's really clear that this is floating on top, right? This back skeleton, I can add a blur to it. So if I take this skeleton, go to Effect, there's a whole category called Blur. These are alphabetized, right? So A, B, Blur, there's Blur. And I'm going to use a Gaussian blur. Gauze, like putting gauze, putting gauze over the camera lens is real easy. Gaussian blur, here's your blurriness. You take this number and just jam it up. Look at how fuzzy the skeleton gets in the background. Make it real blurry to make the effect even better. Right? So now the effect is that the inside of this rectangle is a nice clear skeleton. Now, there's a couple more things that are on this clip that we need to do. Let me do one of them. So I did the blur. Let's do another thing real quick. Change the stripes to blue. So here's the stripes. Select this layer. Go up to Effect. Look at these. Which one do you think would change your color? Stands to reason, maybe color correction, yeah? There are, I want to count, what, 25 different color things? So these are all keyframeable and they do different things. I encourage you to play with them and explore them. Try them out, see what they do. But just to change color, you might think it's change color. Change color could do it. I know from experience that my quick and dirty color changer, I'm going to go to not change color, but hue and saturation. If I go to hue and saturation, I get this controller here. The reason I like this is because you can just take this wheel and turn it, and it changes your color. It's super easy. All right, so I'm going to just change it to blue. You can mess with the saturation here, make it more saturated or less saturated. You can make it lighter or darker. Okay, so I'm going to saturate the heck out of it, make it very blue. Okay, you can also keyframe any of these. Here's an interesting thing. When you open an effect, whether it's blur or color changing, it's going to show up here in effects controls. But if you look in your layer, like here on stripes, if I look under effects, there's hue and saturation. And all this stuff right here is the same as this. So I can change, I can keyframe any of this stuff here or here. It's the same. Okay. What's another thing I'm missing? I've got the hue changed. Look at the skeleton blurry. Oh, you may be asking, why is there a white circle around this mask? So let's do that before we take a break. You want to select the layer that the mask is on, which is this one, right? Open it up and look. Yep, there it is, mask. So on this layer, if I go to Effect and go to Generate, if I go to Generate and choose Stroke, what that does is it puts a stroke on the mask. And I can change the fatness of the stroke with this brush size right here. I could keyframe any of these things, brush size and color, right? Which I'm going to do just for fun right now. So if I look here under this layer, if I look under Effects, there's Stroke, right? What I'll do for fun is at 0, I'm going to set this brush size to 3.2, and at 1 second, I'm going to make it get real fat. And so what'll happen is it'll start off skinny and get thick, right? And then when it turns into a circle, it'll be a thick circle. Maybe what I want to do is have the brush size come down. Let's see what that looks like. So it goes skinny, thick, skinny again. I can keyframe color, turn it on here. That says I'm white. So I'm going to change it from white to, when it turns into a circle, I'm going to choose this color chooser and say, you know what, make it like a yellow-orange, bright yellow-orange here. So, okay. So what it'll do is it'll go from white skinny, white thick, white skinny morph to orange. All right. So that's something that's not in the example. I just want to show you that you can keyframe anything. You could keyframe the blur. You could keyframe the stroke. All right. Let's take a break here and then I'll come back and do the rest of the stuff.